Hello and welcome back to another episode of Brews on From a Basement in the Shire. Today we're going to be continuing with my special guest, my beautiful wife.
Hi guys.
We're going to be continuing our tasting of the Royal Reserve set from Ommegang with their collaboration with Game of Thrones. Now, we've got the second two in the set here. Going to be King in the North and Hand of the Queen. This one being an imperial stout that is bourbon barrel aged. This one being a barley wine ale. Never had a barley wine ale, so that could be interesting. All right. Both are currently retired. The whole set is retired. You can still find them here and there. Local craft beer stores might have them still, as well as you can always find stuff online. It's just a matter of how much you feel like paying for it.
And whether or not it'll ship to your state.
And whether or not it may ship to your state, of course. That being said, as always, disclosure, drink responsibly.
Don't drink and drive.
Never drink and drive. And don't drink underage.
That's good. Check out part 1 where we reviewed Queen of the Seven Kingdoms and Mother of the Dragon. We'll go ahead and link that video in the description below. This is what we did last time, part 1 of the 4-part series. 2-part series.
2-part series.
4 beer series.
4 beers.
Okay.
Now, these are the smaller of the bottles. They usually come in the pint plus sizes, but these came as the 4th set, so they are the smaller sizes, which is why I'm having my special guest with me to review and taste with. So I'm going to start actually with the King of the North, the Imperial Stout that is aged in bourbon barrels.
Oh, we're going to go dark to light this time.
Yes.
All right.
Because I want to try the new one last.
Okay.
I figure I'm already partial to stouts.
Yes.
So, especially anything barrel aged. So,
I would say that's probably our go-to.
Our go-to is usually a barrel aged, and it's usually a stout.
Yeah.
So I figured we'd start with that one this time, and go with this one a second, and we'll take it from here. So this one rings in at an 11% alcohol per volume.
Which I believe, I could be wrong. Yes, that one is the highest percent of the set of 4.
Is that one a 10.6?
This one is a 10.7.
10.7. My apologies.
10.7.
Again, we have never seen Game of Thrones. Yes, haha, hysterical. Your channel's called From a Basement in the Shire, so you love J.R.R. Tolkien, but you've never seen Game of Thrones. You're right. Okay, roast below. Anyway.
Someday we will splurge on HBO and we'll just go out and buy them.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It'll happen.
Maybe we'll make that our own little special. Our reaction to something the world has already seen. Because it's over now.
It is over.
So, yeah.
So we'll start with the stats. As far as what it's already been rated at, as far as Beer Advocate and Rate Beer. On Rate Beer, it's got an overall rating of a 99. Pretty high. And an overall style score of 90. It's got 3.9 stars out of 5 per 74 reviews. As a Beer Advocate, and this is pretty high for a Beer Advocate because at least of the other two that we've tried already, this one's ranking in at a 90. And and it's got a 4.06 star out of 5 per 173 ratings.
And Beer Advocate, they rate more harshly. Is that correct?
That is correct. You do get a lot more professional. That their score comes from more professionalized rating versus just overall general public rating. All right, so we've discussed the beer. Let's give it a pour. It should be pretty dark.
That's a lovely dark brown I can see from underneath. I don't know if the camera can catch it or not, but...
Yeah, that is beautiful. There's this nice golden brown out of the bottle. Golden dark brown. And coming into the glass is just a gorgeous, almost black.
As a stout should be.
As a stout should be. I can already smell it. That's amazing. I can already from here smell the bourbon barrel aging as well as the stout itself.
Does it say how long it was aged?
They don't disclose that.
Okay.
Just as they didn't disclose the ratio for...
percent for our other mixes in the other video.
The percent for the mix on the Mother of Dragons, which was a Create smoked porter.
They didn't for the barley wine and sour either.
Well, the sour is just a styling.
Oh, okay.
It's not necessarily a blended. It's just a matter of how they blended those tastes.
Understood. How's the aroma?
The aroma definitely has the bourbon again from the bourbon barrel aging. It's definitely just by smell, that's a very sweet stout.
Right.
So I'm going with a pretty heavy stout on this one.
Right. I'm not going to read it when you taste. I'm going to see if you can get the notes that it says.
Wow. That's very good. That's really good. I think they did a really good job with that. There's a bourbon barrel-aged stout. It's very, very roasted malty. You can definitely get the cocoa out of that.
The bourbon hits the nose. You can definitely...
The bourbon barrel aging isn't as harsh or acidic as I've had in some others. This one's actually a lot more smooth. I'm actually impressed with that because Ommegang doesn't really do stouts. I mean, they are known for their Belgian style ales.
That's beautiful, though. Can I see the paper? I want to hold that up. That's
yeah.
In the glass. That's almost. That's.
I mean, that's you. There's no seeing through that. It's
completely opaque. That's
the opposite of opaque.
Is it? Isn't translucent, transparent, and opaque?
Aren't they all like the same?
No. Transparent. Transparent, you can see all the way through. Translucent is partially see-through, and opaque, you can't see through at all.
Oh, all right. Then it's definitely opaque. Like you're not seeing through that.
No, this is very, very dark.
I cannot see her hand on the other side of that cup.
No. So the bottle reads, and I can pronounce this name, so that's good for me.
That's good.
Yeah. King in the North. A Beer for John is an imperial stout aged for over 6 months in bourbon barrels. The beer is black as pitch with aromas of bourbon and chocolate. A fitting companion for a long, dark night.
Now, a lot of people are always like, oh, well, stouts are for, winter and things like that. Honestly, you can have it any time of year. It's just like having a goes. Have a goes in the winter. Like, have a stout in the summer. Like,
there's nothing wrong with a red wine in the middle of summer.
serious.
Beer is the same.
It doesn't matter. I mean...
Have a delicious beer whenever you feel like having a delicious beer.
Yes. Again, this one... So far with this Royal Reserve set, they've blended their flavors so well that... I mean, especially compared to the other Game of Thrones series beers that they actually did that weren't Royal Reserve. Those were not necessarily, I think, blended as well as far as flavoring. This one, again, the bourbon barrel aging, it's not over the top. It's not over acidic as far as that when you get that bourbon taste. So they used actually really great barrels and a really great distillery, whoever they went through with those barrels. I'd actually be very curious to find out if anybody knows, to let me know what distillery they may have used for
the bourbon barrels.
Their barrels.
It is. It's a very
The cocoa's right there.
You can definitely taste the bourbon throughout, but it's not. It's very smooth. It's not like punch you in the face bourbon. It's smooth.
And being as I said that I could smell that it was a sweet, the way that the bourbon barrel aging comes across with that, I've had them where they are overly sweet to try and counteract, and this is not. This is not an overly sweet. It is sweet, but not overly sweet.
I almost feel like the aroma is sweeter on the nose than it is on the tongue. It gives the sweet facade, but it's not unsweet. It's just not as sweet as it smells like it's going to be.
Highly concurred.
That's just a beautifully done beer. They did an amazing job with this.
So I think we're gonna finish off the glass and give you our final results. All right. So after reviewing the glass together and topping that off, not to make you wade through that, because there's a little higher percent alcohol. I think we've come to a conclusion.
Yeah.
Again, this is the King in the North by Ommegang, their Royal Reserve. Coming out in a beautiful, beautiful pitch black. There's no, it pours a little bit brown, but you can't see it when it's done being poured.
That's a gorgeous stout.
Very heavy, very sugary, as you might be able to tell. Coming down that glass. Good indication of how sweet it might be. It is a sweet, but not overly sweet, not overly bourbon flavored or acidic. They used a great distillery for their oak casks. I've got to say, I am still impressed with the Royal Reserve as to how they have blended their flavors together with this series versus their other with their other Game of Thrones beers.
Oh, I was actually going to, if you'll excuse me for just a moment, while you wrap up these thoughts, I'll show one of the other ones that we've tried. Our other Ommegang one, or our other Game of Thrones one, was not, it's in our outdoor storage, but I did find the Shadow Brewer, their Imperial Stout that we've had. Oh, yes. Yeah. And I think If I'm remembering this one correctly, this one is probably one of the most compatible to this as the smoothness of the stout comes through. Though this one was not barrel aged.
Not barrel aged, that is true. Again, this was the Shadow Brewer Imperial Stout. I don't think they make it anymore.
We can always get back into that or have you go through it. I thought our other Game of Thrones one had been with this one on the shelf, but that one's in our outdoor storage because it was not one of our favorites from Ommegang. I don't remember what it was called. We'll have to look it up and let them know.
Yes. We will definitely look up any of the Game of Thrones ones that we've had and throw them in the comments of this video. However, we still have one more beer to go on this one. So, Gorgeous Wife, any notes that you would like to embellish on?
Well, so far, out of the 3 that we've tried, this video and last, this stout is my favorite of the set, which is really tough to say because you know how much I like Krieks and porters.
That's true.
I'm a sucker for fruit in my beer, which is crazy because I do like darker beers. I'm not like just I can do a shot of whiskey, but
She's my whiskey girl.
I really am. That's just a delicious beer.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to see if we can find a full size of this one online or at the Beer Depot.
So to top that off, I think that I'm going to have to rate that at 4.2 Elvin bread.
4.2. Oh,
that's still really high. It's just, I've had others that are just still my absolute favorites. 4.2 for me is really high.
I want to call it a 4.5. It's hard for me because, again, we've had some pretty delicious beers.
Yeah.
But if I'm going on this set alone, it is the winner so far. And yeah, 4.2. I'll go with your 4.2.
Gotta mind your own, ladies. You want a 4.5, you take a 4.5.
I'm going to one-up them 4.3.
All right.
I'm doing a 4.3 on this one.
All right, so from A Basement in the Shire on the Brews channel, that's it for King of the North by Ommegang.
Stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and open our final beer together here of the set, Hand of the Queen.
Hey guys, welcome back to our second part of the segment here on From A Basement in the Shire. So here we're going to be trying the Hand of the Queen by Ommegang. It is the barley wine ale, coming in at 10.7% alcohol content per volume. I think I've only ever, I know I mentioned it before, I may not have ever, but I think I have had a barley wine ale once. But honestly, I don't even recall it, so I'm just going to consider this my first barley wine ale. I've got pretty high hopes for it, so hopefully no disappointment in that. Let's open her up, see what we got.
Hand of the Queen. I like that.
You're gonna have to read it to see what the Ommegang Game of Thrones collaboration was trying to go for on that. Because again, we haven't seen Game of Thrones yet. Yes, boo hiss.
I'll tell you, I've gotten more flack for not having seen Game of Thrones than I have any other show.
It's true. So that's pouring a very beautiful amber dark brown out of the bottle and into the glass. We're looking at a fairly
That's
fairly dark one.
yeah. There's some color at the bottom here, like an amber, almost a dark amber.
Oh yeah, we've definitely got some sediment. That's fine. I really don't mind it. It's definitely got this nice ruby brown color to it.
So forgive me for pulling out my phone, but the color on this is incredible.
It's got a great ruby brown.
Like if I can, I don't think you're gonna be able to see it. You can probably see the sediment when I hold that up. But there is a beautiful color in that. I really hope you can kind of get that color. I'm surprised. I expected it to be lighter in color, personally.
I did as well. But then again, I can't remember having a barley wine ale, so bottoms up, right?
Yeah.
Cheers, guys. The aroma, what do you think? You definitely get, I think there's definitely roasty, it feels like roasty malts on the aroma.
Yeah, I get a strong malt on the aroma, like a very
but like a strong roasty malt.
Yeah, it is.
On first taste, it's very good. It's actually much sweeter than I had expected. It does have almost this wine flavor to it, most likely due to the amount of barley they use for brewing it. Not dry, not acidic, not anything like that. It is definitely sweet. I think that's a pretty good beer.
That is. It's definitely.
It's very interesting. It's not quite. It's not quite as stout, but it's very stout-like.
That's a good call. I agree. It's not like a beer that I've had before. It's got a very distinct. If I had to compare it to a beer, I would have to agree and say it's very stout-like. But you can definitely tell side by side, having just had a stout, you can definitely tell that it is not a stout, but it resembles one in some of the richness qualities.
Mm-hmm.
So this says, Hand of the Queen, a beer for
I'm assuming Tyrion. Again, murder me for the, please don't murder me, but feel free to comment below and leave me gross comments about my not seeing Game of Thrones yet. But you can also leave great comments as well.
Just no spoilers, please.
Yeah, don't do that. I'll stop reading.
Is a bold interpretation of a classic barley wine ale. Rich and full-bodied, offering intense notes of dark fruit and malty sweetness. This is a beer for those who drink and know things. We drink.
We know things.
This is the beer for us.
Oh, boy.
He's going to have to finish this one just because I don't do sediment. It's a personal thing. Texture. I don't know.
The yeast sediment doesn't ever usually bother me. Honestly, I think it adds a little more flavor to it. But, obviously when you do pour, you usually want to keep sediment in the bottle. I don't really care. Been doing it for...
What do you think?
As long as I've been drinking craft beer, and that's been 9 years. So,
We started the adventure of craft beers shortly after we got together, and very rarely do we ever go for something just generic, and maybe if we're having a get together, we'll do, you know, basic. Hi, Duchess.
Hey, Duchess. So this is our second cat, apparently for the second video. We have 4. She just wanted to come say hi. Hi, Duchess. Hi, Duchess.
All right, she's gonna hang out.
She won't be having any beer, though.
No.
Again, still surprised on how sweet that is. I wasn't expecting that, but it still has the acidity and taste of a barley wine.
I feel like, as with, what was it, of the first set that we did the other day, the nose is deceptive. A little bit. Like, I feel like you don't get as much of the toasted malt that you get on the nose when you're tasting.
Yeah, the roasted malt, when you're drinking it, again, like a stout, the roasted malt is more there. With the barley wine, you're not getting the roastiness so much of it on the taste, rather than the aroma.
That's a great beer. I am impressed with this set.
I am too. I think it was a great choice. Especially a great one to start our new venture from the basement on the Shire.
You know, I hope I get to join you for quite a few of the videos, but
well, I'd like to have you back, but you know, I mean, our show schedule is so tight. It's just I'm gonna have to see what I can do.
Oh, all right. Squeeze me in there.
All right. As long as I get to squeeze you.
Oh, not on TV.
No. Alright, so we're going to finish off this cup, and we'll be back with our final review.
See you in a minute.
Alright guys, so drank most of the glass together, and now to our final review of Hand of the Queen in the Royal Reserve by...
Kat had her opinion too.
Kat had her opinion too. By Ommegang in the Game of Thrones collaboration. So, from this beautiful round table, from a basement on the Shire.
I just wanted to see real quick if I could show you, because this is an exceptional color. I don't know if you can all really get the full experience of that color. That is... I really needed to show you guys a close-up of this one, because that is a very unique flavor, and it is a unique.
I believe you could go with A.
Would you? I know it's Anne with vowels, but U is special.
It is.
Right.
English doesn't make sense, guys.
No.
We are literally a mishmash of a bajillion different languages. Yes, that's a number.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, yeah, this is just a unique beer. I gotta say it's great. It's giving me the sniffles. Sorry. Really smooth, slightly acidic from the barley wine, but not overly. Still a sweet beer. And again, with this series, compared to some of the other Game of Thrones Ommegang collaborations outside of the Reserve series, I just can't say enough that they have really outdone themselves as far as how they've paired their tastings together and not just made this random collaboration of beer, whether it tastes good or not.
Yeah. They
on the palate. I mean, you're getting a little bit of cocoa, not a lot, because it's not like a stout, not even like a porter.
In terms of taste, we did determine that it was most resembling a stout if we had to put it into a
category of one versus the other.
But it's still so different.
It's a barley wine ale. It's a barley wine ale.
And now we can sit here and talk about how much we appreciate this, but having not tried any other barley wine, we may try a different one and decide that they didn't do as good of a job. But let me tell you, for an introductory...
That's true. That is true.
But as an introductory to barley wine ales, this was... If other barley wine ales are similar to this in structure, I'd say that's a new favorite style of wine. Not top favorite, but definitely in there.
Oh, definitely in there. Definitely in there. Let's see.
Finishing with that sediment.
Almost creamy at first, but very quickly fading. Very quickly fading into that nice, flavorful barley wine. Not having other barley wines and comparing it to all other beers on the... Ooh.
Oh, thanks, Kat.
Thanks, Kat. Let's not break stuff, but good try. Going on the Elvish scale... And against all other beers, obviously, because I haven't had too many, if not just one, barley wine ale, I have to go with probably a 4.2.
Wow. I was going to say a 3.5.
Really?
That was going to be my guess.
I think they really, really put together a great ale.
I agree. I don't know if it's just because subconsciously I know that it's an ale, but I mean, I myself would probably give it a 3.8, but I was going to guess you were going to go with a 3.5. That was my little behind you.
Thank you. What guests can do. Yeah, no, that's an overall great beer. They did a great job. That's 4.2 on the Elvish bread. Right there.
All right. Well, now we have...
What do you think?
I'm going to the 3.8.
You're going... Wow. All right.
I like it. I think it was very unique. It did have the sweetness. It did remind me of a stout, and you know that I love dark beer.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's hard for me to get over the concept that it's so similar to a stout.
Without being
a stout.
Sure.
So, I think it's more subconscious than really taste-based for my scoring, but I'm going to say a 3.8.